everybody, Lord Tremendous here, got another battle report here for you. Battle report number 40. It is I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus Gnome Runner, also of the Ogre Cons. I know, right? My Vermin Swarm opponent has decided to play with a big boys army. I was so proud and slightly insulted. So we sit down to kick the ever-loving crap out of each other, and he gets to be the guy I get to try out my new Lord Tremendous kit on. I was so excited. I think he was too. But get ready to sit back, relax, and see how this one goes. Well, here's my list, and there are a bunch of changes. I still have my Lord, my great shaman Skaz, Skaven and AZ, for those that don't know what the acronym stands for. He's a level 4 wizard with Screaming Swords, a Demonic Heart, the Obsidian Pebble for that 6-up ward against magic, and then I gave him the Path of Heaven. So not a huge change, I think just the Obsidian Pebble is new. Next up, I have my hero choices, and of course, I still have my Khan. He's my BSB, and I changed his kit up a little bit because I want to try a few things. The Axebreaker Gauntlet is on him now. I give him the Dragon Mantle, and he has the Talisman of Lesser Shielding. Still gives him a 2-up, 6-up, gives him 5 attacks at Strength 5 with the ability to destroy magic weapons of other opponents. Really, I just want to give him magical attacks and an Iron Fist, and I wanted to start being able to use his initiative instead of always going a great weapon, because I just feel like if he could kill more, the Merc Vets would live longer. It's just an idea. I'm just trying it out. And he's still got a 2-up, 6-up, so he's still very viable. Next up is my Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He now has a Hunting Spear, the Heart Ripper Iron Fist, the Charm of Cursed Iron, and I put him on a Rock. I mean, we all knew I was going to do it eventually. I wanted to try it out. I gave him the Heart Ripper because at the time, and I realized it after this game, at the time I thought it would give the model parry. I was wrong. When you're on a ridden monster, you use the monster's weapon skill to attack, so his parry doesn't come into effect at all. It does give him Lethal Strike and Armor Piercing and 5 attacks, all at Strength 5, so that's still pretty good. But I wanted to try putting Lord Tremendous on a big-ass monster and see how he did. I've tried the Rock a few times. Not a huge fan. He's a lot of points that just get shot off the table, but I thought maybe with the Charm of Cursed Iron, at least I'd have a 5-up board against artillery shots. So I wanted to try it out, and you all get to watch, see what happens in his first game ever. And then I have a second Mammoth Hunter, not Lord Tremendous, although I probably will make that mistake during this battle report. And he's got his normal kit. Ogre Crossbow, Iron Fist, Armor of Fortune, Lucky Charm, Oroc's Charm, and Oroc's Charm, sorry. And Tusker War Teddy, because he's still the War Teddy, he's just got a new rider, that's all. Tremendous has shifted gears. So, you know, Teddy's still around now, and Teddy's really the star. I mean, come on. For my core choices, I still have pretty much the same thing. I have a unit of 8 tribesmen now, the good old boys, with full command and Iron Fists. I know I've only got 7 in the picture back there. There are 8 during the game, I promise you. I have another unit of tribesmen, a 7-buy unit this time, Skaz's Spazzes. They have full command, Iron Fist, and the Banner of Discipline because I want Leadership 9, because this is where my General Skaz goes. And now I'm down to a unit of 15 Scraplings, the Cheapskates, with Banner Musician and Short Bows, and that shores up my core tax. For my special choices, I still have my Saber-Toothed Tiger, Bow Wowzer. I have my mandatory unit of 5 Scrapling Trappers, the Favored Pets. And I have my mandatory unit of 5 mercenary veterans, the Corpulent Bastards, with Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, Lethal Strike, Bodyguard, and the Stalker Standard, because these guys rock. For my rare choices, I have my Thunder Cannon of Doom! And of course I have my Frost Mammoth, Rufus! He's got a couple of Ogre Crossbows and the guys that he tows around with him. But, as we all know, he's the main event. He's the star of the show. I love this guy. Alrighty, that's going to do it for my list. Next up is my opponent's. I'm going to play some music. Feel free to pause it at any time to see what he took. Here are my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. Blizzard is on both Skaz and the Frost Mammoth, just in case you were wondering. And here are my opponent's spells, and I let him borrow my butchery cards just so that, we could get a cool picture. And here's deployment.
Are you ready for a war?
So for the most part, as you can see, I pretty much threw everything down like I always do. Wasn't 100% where to put Lord Tremendous on the Rock. In the middle there, on kind of the right, that is the proxied unit for my Rock. I do not have an actual model for him yet. It is the correct base size, and I threw a Sauron Warlord on a Carnosaur on top of it. Yeah, I figured it was fitting. I mean, it's pretty terrifying, and I think that'll work. But from left to right, I put the model formerly known as Lord Tremendous on a Tusker over on the left side. His job is going to be to fly around the left flank and hopefully get in there and do some damage. I got my trappers behind the hill there so they can move up and attack his trappers. I ended up going first. And then I've got the other unit of scraplings right behind that wall there, just in case. I wasn't sure what was going to be behind the wall, or on top, not behind the wall, but on top of that hill right there. So if something did show up and come after me, they'd get at least a cover save for being behind the wall. I've got Skaz's Spazzes, the Corpulent Bastards, and Rufus in the middle there. Corpulent Bastards are going to run right through the forest because I don't care. And everything else is just going to try to go right up the middle and run into anything that they can that I think I'm going to win. I've got Bow Wowzer right next to Lord Tremendous on the Rock to block him from overrunning. He's frenzy. He has to overrun. And I don't care too much about things running into him because he's stubborn 9 currently. Excuse me. But Bow Wowzer will stop any crazy overruns that Lord Tremendous has to take because of frenzy. So that's the plan anyway. He's probably going to get shot and killed immediately. Right next to him, I have the good old boys, and they're going to shoot forward and slam into anything that they can. And next to them is in the water, is my Thunder Cannon of Doom. And I put him in the water because I'm an idiot. I thought being in the water would grant him some sort of cover save. No, it does not. That was really stupid on my part. I checked it afterwards. All it's going to do is guarantee a bunch of dangerous terrain checks. So, yeah, dumb me. Luckily, chariots can't march, but if I had to charge them out of the water, I'm going to pay for it. On his end of the table, on the right there, are a big old unit of 8 Merc Vets with, the typical shooty kit with poison +1 ballistic skill. It's got a cannon on top of the hill. Right next to them is 4 Bombardiers. In front of them is a unit of, I think, 7 Tribesmen with his BSV in there. Behind them is his Great Shaman General and a unit of Tribesmen. He's got a Frost Mammoth as well. There's a couple of saber-toothed tigers. Behind them is another unit of bombardiers. Small unit of 3 bruisers right next to them, and a 30-man brick of scraplings to the left of Stegodon impassable terrain there, the little head there. On the hill, he's got 2 units of scrapling trappers. So there's deployment. Here's top of 1 after movement, and I got all excited and I came forward. My trappers, Lord Tremendous and the Scraplings, move up to shoot at the trappers on the hill because it's infested and I want to get rid of as many as I can. Everything else comes forward a decent bit. I put my Sabertooth, I put Bow Wowzer into the forest right behind my Merc Vets just to give him a cover save because I want him in order to be able to redirect and stop Tremendous from overrunning. He's got 2 dogs right there that he's going to use to try to chaff him, and I don't have enough stuff right there to counter the chaff because I'm a bad gamer. So yeah. Meanwhile, again, stupid with my cannon, I back it up out of the water a little bit as far as I can. He's still in the water, but I figure he's just going to be shooting, so I should be fine. And eventually I'll get him out of the water so I can go around and possibly charge something later in the game. But yeah, that's really it for movement. During the magic phase, nothing happens, so we go into shooting, and my trappers shoot at the trappers in front of them and drop 2 of them because my trappers are the superior ones. And to further prove this, the ensuing panic check causes the trappers to run about 6 inches away from my superior trappers, which, that's not bad. With a little luck, they won't rally. They'll bounce through that scrappling unit, maybe cause the panic check. Things are looking up for the trapper side of the table. With no combat, nothing else happening in the shooting phase, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement. And there's not as much. My opponent's playing a heavy shooty army. There's no real reason for him to move a whole lot, you know? His trappers on the left side move up to block the model formerly known as Lord Tremendous, the hunter on a Tusker, which is fine. I'll take that bait all day. His trappers that fled do rally. The other scraplings move up to shoot at, I don't even remember what. And other than that, I think the only thing that moves is on the far right side there. His Merc Vets come around the hill there to get a better shot at my big unit of tribesmen. His 2 Saber Cats, that he has in the middle there, one chaffs Lord Tremendous, the other one hides behind a hill so he can't be charged by, my good old boys. And that's really it for movement. During the magic phase, I think in order to draw some of my dispel dice out, he gets stubborn off on the scraplings, and I just didn't care. I stop everything else in magic, so we go into shooting, and his cannon fires at my Rock. I fail my 5-up ward, and he does 2 wounds to the Rock, because thanks to the Rock Skeleton, or Stone Skin, or whatever the hell the rule's called now, he can't really do any more than 2 wounds with cannon to him. So, huge thing, because otherwise he'd have 4 wounds on him right now. Yeah, that one little rule really makes him worthy of taking in any list. Next up, his Bombardiers fire at my Rock, and yeah, it occurs to me now that they probably couldn't see him past the hill. But what can you do? Maybe they could have. It's irregardless. He fires at him, and it might not have been them. Maybe it was his Merc Vets. Something shoots at the Rock, either Bombardiers or Merc Vets, and puts another wound throughout him. Nothing I can do about that. It wasn't from artillery, and a 4-up armor is not that great. So with no combat still, we go over here to top of 2 after movement, and I'm trying to get closer without getting charged. Skaz and the Spazzes move up, the Corpulent Bastards move up, Rufus moves up, the Hunter on a Tusker charges into the Scrappling Trappers, because screw those guys. Everything just kind of moves up, and Lord Tremendous on the Rock slams into the War Kitty that's in front of him just to take him out. And then, as I said, I moved Bow Wowzer up in such a way that he could block the overrun, so he won't go anywhere. I'm literally an inch away from him, so he has to stop. So that's to stop him getting countercharge or any silly, screwy countercharges that would really suck for him to run into. And my good old boys move up to the lip and get on top of the hill in the center there so they can see everything, so they can hopefully charge next turn. And that's it. I kind of forget to move my cannon, so it's just going to sit there and shoot. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of my Hunter on a Tusker charging into the trappers and making it, go figure. Oh yeah, and there's a better picture of my Merc Vets failing a charge into the Bruisers. I did try to make that charge. It was a longer charge, but I had Swift Stride, figured I could roll a 9. I was wrong. And there's Lord Tremendous slamming into the War Kitty that is his Saber-Tooth Tiger. And yeah, we think we know how this one's going to go. During the magic phase, I'm able to get the Stars Align off on my Merc Vets, and I let them re-roll their armor save because I know they're probably going to take a whole bunch of shooting next round. And so even though it's probably at best only going to be a 6-up armor save, at least I get to re-roll it. And I got a second seal, which was always nice. Then I go into shooting, and I fire my cannon into his Frost Mammoth, thinking that, or not his Frost Mammoth, his Thunder Cannon. I was hoping to put a bunch of damage onto it, and I end up rolling a 1. And then I roll another 1, which means this bad boy isn't shooting for the rest of the game. He's still a chariot, but I'm so disappointed. Oh, I really wanted him to shine in this game. Then we go to shooting over here, and my trappers fire at the other trappers because we like to abuse those things that are littler than us. I kill another one, forcing the panic check, and they flee yet again, which is awesome. And then we go into combat. Needless to say, 3d3 Strength 7 impact hits is more than enough to turn that damn Saber-Tooth Tiger into his baser parts. The mandatory over 1, as you can see, stops him 1 inch away from Bow Wowzer, and he is 1 inch away from him. We checked. And yeah, the other Saber-Tooth Tiger that's over there does pass his panic check, which is really disappointing. But hey, at least it's dead, and you know, that's a start. Then over here, my Hunter on a Tusker is able to destroy all the trappers, and I, for one, was surprised. So, with that handled, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and things get a little crazy. And by crazy, I mean nothing really happens. His big unit of scraplings move forward to just sacrifice themselves for the greater good. They charge into my trappers who stood and shot. I didn't think he could make it. I was wrong. They killed 2 on the way in, which is probably 2 more than they're going to kill in close combat. His bruisers move right up in front of my merc vets in order to stop them from getting into anything that he really cares about. His other war Kitty or whatever it is, the saber-toothed tiger, gets right in front of Bow Wowzer. And I know he was trying to block my charge, but if I can charge with the good old boys and get in there, then Lord Tremendous can get past them, wheel past them, and there's a gap big enough that he can go through, so that's a good thing. But yeah, other than that, nothing else has moved other than his merc vets on the far right side there. They just moved up to get into short range with their shooting. I think his hope was to obliterate my good old boys as fast as he could. But yeah, as far as I can remember, that's all there was for movement. There's a better picture of his scraplings running into my trappers, and that's probably not going to go well for them. During the magic phase, he gets stubborn and +1 toughness off on his bruisers. He got him off on there. I think again he was trying to pull my dispel dice. I didn't care. I knew my merc vets could take these guys. I didn't want him to get regen off on him, and that's what I ended up stopping with all my dispel dice. So we go into shooting, and my opponent decides that the good old boys have to be the dead old boys, because holy crap, he unloads on the unit. His merc vets alone do 8 wounds. 3, 6, 7, yeah, 8 wounds to him, because one guy was carrying a wound from something, I don't remember what. And holy crap, he rolled out of the box. 3 bases pop from his merc vet shooting alone. Then his bombardier unit on the hill fires at him and does 2 more wounds, which isn't nearly as bad, but it's still, really, it's going the wrong direction for these guys, And then his other unit of bombardiers and his frost mammoth shoot at me and do 2 more wounds in total, killing another base. So I went from a unit of 8 strong to a unit of 3 weak by the end of his shooting phase. That was some devastating shooting, I don't mind telling you. But it took a lot of points in order to do that, so I think he earned it. So we go into combat, and his scraplings are able to kill 2 of my trappers, and in return, my trappers are able to kill 2 of his scraplings, so that was nice. The problem is he has charge in 3 ranks to my 2 wounds. He wins by 2. My poor trappers break and get run down. The scraplings murdered my trappers. That's fine. He was hoping to overrun into my other unit of scraplings. He didn't. He missed them by about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, which is great because the model formerly known as Lord Tremendous is going to slam into their flank and beat them into oblivion. So justice for the trappers will ensue. And with that over, we go over here to top of 3 after movement. And as promised, the Hunter on a Tusker charges into the flank of the Scrappers and makes it. My Merc Vets charge into the Bruisers and make it. My Lord Tremendous on a Rock charges into the Tribesmen in front of him there with a BSB and makes it no problem. It was able to get past his Saber-Tooth Tiger no problem because the unit of Tribesmen that was 8 strong last turn is 3 strong now, leaving a gap. Plenty of space, plenty of line of sight, slams right into them, and it was glorious. They did pass their terror check, which really upset me. That would have been great if they fled. My other unit of tribesmen, I think they tried to charge his cannon and failed, which is, oh well, I mean, that unit's screwed. And then my Thunder Cannon of Doom went, traipsed through the pond there in order to get closer so that it could try to get into this fight before the game is over. I'm well aware that his Merc Vets can easily charge my tribesmen and probably murder them no problem, so I have every intention in the world of fleeing if he does that. I wasn't sure if he was going to or not. You'll see what happens. There's a better picture of my Hunter on a Tusker slamming into Scraplings and my Merc Vet slamming into the Bruisers. And there's a better picture of Lord Tremendous getting into his first close combat on top of a Rock. I'm very excited to see how this is going to pan out because I've never actually had him in combat with anything of substance before. Usually I get chaff. I think he ran into some skirmishers that were ethereal in a house once, but never with a character on top of him. So very excited to see how this goes. This could go really, really well or horrendously wrong. I can't wait to find out. During a magic phase, I try to get some spells off, but I roll kind of low, and I think either my opponent dispels it, or I don't make the casting cost of the spells, or it's a combination of the two. But I am able to get Blizzard off from Skaz onto the unit of tribesmen that Lord Tremendous is in base-to-base with, so that should help keep him alive, because it'll be harder for him to hit Lord Tremendous on the mount. Unfortunately, I got that spell off with overwhelming power and end up rolling a miscast 9. But it's not that big of a deal because it ends up not doing anything. Nobody takes any wounds. I'm perfectly fine. It just ends up ending my magic phase because there were a lot of power dice, which I'm really okay with. Nothing happens in shooting, so we go into combat, and the hunter on a Tusker is able to kill off about 6 of the scraplings. They're not able to do anything in return. They are steadfast, and they actually make their test. However, they do not pass their test to turn and face. So one more round in their flank, I'll take it. I don't know if I'm getting the upper hand in this fight because he is successfully blocking my hero character with a unit of Cortax. So, well played on my opponent. What can I say? Then over here, my Mercvets have no problem at all destroying the Bruisers before they can do anything to me. And then they overrun right there, so I have a better charge on either his Frost Mammoth or his Bombardiers next turn, which I'm looking forward to. And then Bow Wowzer gets into his fight with the Saber-Tooth Tiger of my opponents. We each do a wound to each other, but I win by 1 because I charged. He fails his break check and flees through the combat and everything else. Nobody cares because he's insignificant. However, he does take DT checks, go through Lord Tremendous, and passes them. So you can kind of see him on the top right there in between the Bombardiers and the Butcher and everything like, or I'm sorry, the Shaman. And yeah, he got away, and that sucks. I was kind of hoping to clear out all this chaff. But then we get into the main event. I do my impact hits and kill like 2 of the guys, no problem. And then we get into combat, and it's devastating. I do end up taking 2 more wounds, even with his -1 to hit. But in the end, I kill off the entire back rank of tribesmen with just 1 guy. 1 hero on a monster. He is not steadfast, and he loses this combat. He breaks, and I run him down. I have to pursue. I'm frenzied. I go and I slam into both the Frost Mammoth and the Tribesman unit. They were exactly parallel with each other, so I hit them both. Not intentional, but hey, I'll take it. And that's going to make for some crazy combat next turn. And yes, they all made their panic checks. So, with the exception of the Bombardiers, as you can see in the right there, that are fleeing a little bit. So that's even better. I'm quite happy with Lord Tremendous on a Rock right now. So then we go over here to bottom of 3 after movement, and there's a little bit, not a ton. His Thunder Cannon comes charging down the hill into the flank of Lord Tremendous, which makes sense. His Mercvets charge my Tribesmen who flee, and I end up fleeing like 11 inches. Those guys were motivated to get the hell out of this fight. His Mercvets do not try to redirect, and they end up right there, which, as you can see, exposes their flank to my Thunder Cannon, which I'm excited about, because at least my Thunder Cannon can slam into them and hold them there for a round or 2, stopping them from shooting, because their shooting is devastating. And right now, I don't have anything in position to deal with them, so bummer. And that's really it. Everything else he has is more or less dead or in combat. The only other thing is his Bombardiers and his fleeing Saber-Tooth Tiger both rally, which was disappointing, yet not unexpected. That's it for movement, though. There's a better picture of his Mercvets failing a charge of my fleeing Tribesmen. And there's a better picture of his Thunder Cannon slamming into Lord Tremendous, which, yeah, he's probably going to die, but maybe he can take some guys out with him. I think impact hits are going to kill a decent amount on both sides. During a magic phase, my opponent is able to get +1 toughness off on his Bombardiers because he thinks he knows where my Mercvets are going. And then we go into shooting, and his Bombardiers blow the head off of one of my Mercvets, which I find offensive. So then we go into combat, and yes, it was impact hits that take out Lord Tremendous. His Thunder Cannon did like 5, and I think 2 got through. I didn't make any of my saves, and he only had 1 wound on him anyway, and he died. And it is what it is. That was a good combat. But his impact hits went off as well. They went Simo, and I did 5 wounds to the Tribesman unit. I thought that was great. So... before he died, Lord Tremendous took out a big unit of Tribesmen, a BSB, and another Tribesman and a half before finally being taken down. Not bad. Not bad at all. Then over here, my Hunter on a Tusker takes out 6 more of these little bastards. They do nothing in return to him. They are steadfast, but the battle proves far too much for them, and they break, and I run them down. So at least all the chaff is mostly cleared now. Now I can get this guy back into this fight. Maybe even send him into the Merc Vets. That would be nice. So here we are in top of 4 after movement, and there's a decent amount. My Merc Vets charge into Bombardiers who stand and shoot and kill another one. But wasn't enough for a panic check, which is fine because I make it, and life is good that way. Bow Wowzer moves up to block his Thunder Cannon's charge just in case he got froggy. Skaz and his Spazzes hang out right next to Rufus and my Hunter on a Tusker. We got kind of a standoff thing going on right now. Nobody wants to be the first to charge and fail and get countercharged. My fleeing tribesmen rally, and my Thunder Cannon charges out of the water into the flank of the Merc Vets. I do not expect him to do anything against him. I just want him to hold him there and stop him from shooting me for a little while. But yeah, that's really it for movement. There's a better picture of my Merc Vets slamming into the Bombardiers, sans one Merc Vet. And there's a better picture of my Thunder Cannon slamming into these guys and into his Merc Vets, just trying to plug them up for a turn or two. You know, I don't expect him to do anything other than that. During the magic phase, I get the Comet off. It's the lower level one, so I don't know when it's coming on, but I get it off and I put it right behind his general's unit, so I'm hoping it comes down in his magic phase. So we go into combat, and I don't do impressively at all. I kill one of the Bombardiers. I think I do a wound to another one. In return, he kills one of my Merc Vets, which is painful. But I think we each did 3 wounds, but I have charge, banner, BSB to his 3 wounds. He does not have a banner. He loses this combat, and I don't have a picture of it, but he breaks and he gets run down. And my Merc Vets end up like an inch away from the board edge. So that's not great, but hey, they won the combat. That's something. So then we go into combat over here, and my Thunder Cannon is able to kill 2 of his Mercs. Just with impact hits and the Woolly Mammoth, really. In return, they take 3 wounds because, well, he took a lot of damage. These guys are steadfast. I win this combat, but they're completely steadfast. But they actually break, and I run them down. I couldn't believe it. He was steadfast 8, and he rolled like a 10, and I ran him down. I think he only ran like 5 inches. Meanwhile, my Thunder Cannon must have gone like 9 or 10. It was amazing. But yeah, the Thunder Cannon was just supposed to be an anchor, a plug for them for a minute, because of the flank was able to take them the hell out. It was glorious. I love my Thunder Cannon of Doom. So with that, we go over here to bottom of 4 after movement, and his Frost Mammoth charges Skaz and his Spazzes, and, well, let's face it, Skaz can't survive a game, so this is a great way for him to die, becoming, you know, a Mammoth's friggin', I don't know, footpad or whatever, and I know it's going to happen. What can you do? They stand their ground and accept their fate. I believe his general's unit charges Bow Wowzer, or maybe it's his Thunder Cannon. No, it's his general's unit. They charge Bow Wowzer and they make it. And again, that's fine too. And the rest of his stuff, I think his Bombardiers that he has left on the right side, they move up on top of the hill. And that, I think, is it. There's a better picture of my opponent's Frost Mammoth slamming in the Skaz. And you know what? Like I said, he can't survive a game, so I got to maintain the status quo. And there's a better picture of his general slamming into Bow Wowzer just to take him out. During the magic phase, I don't remember what spell he got off or what spell he tried to get off, but I popped the Demon Heart because I figured Skaz was dead this turn. And I can't remember what spell it was, but something either gets off or doesn't get off, whatever. He rolls doubles and he ends up miscasting 6. The results of which ends up doing a wound to his general, killing off one of his tribesmen, and killing off Bow Wowzer, which is kind of sad. Doesn't do anything to the cannon, and it was stubborn. He got stubborn off on his unit. That's what it was. But yeah, still, not a bad miscast. At the end of the magic phase, I roll and the Comet comes down. The Comet cleans the area, finishes off my Merc Vets, kills them all off. It ends up going out like 12 inches. It's insane. Finishes off my Merc Vets, finishes off the Tribesmen, finishes off my cannon, and I think kills off a Bombardier. I couldn't believe it. It was huge. But yeah, board clearing in that one particular section. And then the ensuing panic check on his general, he fails and starts running towards the board edge. And to be perfectly honest, if the entire area had just been blasted by a space rock, I would probably run away too. So, yeah, Comet is quickly becoming my favoriteest spell. So then we go into combat, and his Frost Mammoth doesn't do too impressive, I gotta be honest. He only ends up doing 3 wounds to the unit, killing a tribesman. In return, I'm not able to do anything to him, but his charge and 3 wounds to my banner and a rank, he wins by 2, I'm steadfast, and I stick. I was as shocked as you are. With that over, we go over here to top of 5 after movement, and the big thing is Rufus slams into his Frost Mammoth. Rufus does not like the idea of a Frost Mammoth on the table other than him. He's very territorial, he's very alpha, so he's going to go in there and show that son of a bitch who's boss. Other than that, the Hunter on a Tusker and the tribesmen moving away to go after the Bombardiers and the Thunder Cannon. My Scraplings readjust their attack to go after some trappers that are behind the Triceratops skull. They did rally, and now they're just trying not to get killed off the table. And then Khan goes running over after his general because he's got to either rally this turn or flee off the table. One of the two. Or I'm going to charge him, and I'm pretty sure Khan can take him. But yeah, that's it for movement. During the magic phase, I get another Comet off, and I put it right near his Thunder Cannon and close to his Bombardiers. I'm using it both as an offensive spell and a deterrent. I'm trying to keep his Bombardiers away from the rest of my army. His cannon, I just want to kill it. Rufus is able to get Blizzard off on the Frost Mammoth, just making him a little bit more difficult for him to hit and make his break check after this is over. So hopefully very useful. And with nothing else happening, we go over here into combat. And needless to say, Rufus is able to do some serious damage to that bastard. The impact hits put 3 wounds through on him. I lose another tribesman to the counterattacks, because we're all at initiative 1 right now. And the counterattacks from the tribesmen and Rufus and the riders, I put all 6 wounds on his Frost Mammoth and kill him dead, with Rufus putting the last 2 wounds on him. It was a hell of a fight. And then triumphantly, Rufus turns to face the rest of the army and probably get cannoned to death or something, but still, should be cool. Skaz and the Spazzes are just so happy to be alive, they don't even know where to look. I'm very pleased. So with that, we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement, and there's a little bit, not a ton. His general rallies, his bombardiers pivot a little bit, and his cannon tries to back up away from the Comet. That is about it. Oh, and his trappers do stay behind the Triceratops skull, just in order to stop me from shooting at him and charging him, which is smart. During a magic phase, my opponent gets Giant's Gullet off, I think, on Khan, and he's able to wound him twice with it. I think I tried to stop it, or I stopped other things, and he got the spell off. He gets 2 wounds through on it. You don't get any armor saves on that particular spell, the wounds from that one. So all Khan has is a 6-up ward from the Talisman of Lesser Shielding, and flippin' makes it unbelievable. With the end of the magic phase hitting, the Comet comes down. I roll for it, and it comes down all angry and pissed off, blows up his Thunder Cannon, and panics his Bombardier unit, which just absolutely blows my mind. I think it kills one of the Bombardiers and sends them on their way. God, I like Comets. With nothing else, we go over here to top of 6 after movement, and really the only thing that happens is Khan charges his general. Everything else moves up. Even Skaz comes out of the unit in order to try to magic his bombardiers, just because I can't have them running around saying that they survived a clash against my army, because that's just bad juju. And, you know, I have an ego to keep, I don't know, something other than in the dirt. So that's my movement. There's a better picture of my Khan slamming into his shaman, and I'm really hoping this is going the way that I want it to go anyway. Nothing happens in the magic phase because I don't want to risk it, so we shoot, and Rufus and Tremendous both shoot at the fleeing bombardiers, and we're able to drop another one. They're immune psychology, but hey, it's the principle of the thing, and I feel good about killing one more guy. And then we go into combat, and my Khan is able to just murder, straight up murder the Great Shaman. It's wonderful. Even with +2 to his toughness and only strength 5, I rolled the wounds that I needed to do. I got lucky as hell. And I think I have the stars aligned, so I was able to re-roll my wounds. And yeah. Yeah, that was absolutely awesome. So I lied. Yeah, magic. I got the stars align off on him so he could reroll his wounds, and that was what made all the difference. And he dies. My con does end up doing a little victory lap, and he overruns just because I'm a jerk like that. But yeah, got the shaman at the last minute with none other than Khan. And that's it. That's the end of the game, guys. There's a couple of scrappling trappers right over there near the Triceratops skull, and he had one bombardier left running off the table. That was it. So, needless to say, my opponent definitely had some bad luck on some leadership roles, to say the least. But I was pleasantly surprised at how well the army did against a heavy shooty ogre list. I thought it was a good practice list for, or a practice game or trial game. I think trial game is the better way to go with it, especially for Lord Tremendous on Iraq. So, at which I was very pleased with his performance. Had a cannon on the table and everything. Even took some wounds, but still, very cool toy. Very cool toy. I don't know if I'm going to keep him, but I am going to try him out in a few more games before I decide one way or the other. But you know what? We will get to the recap in a second, because right now, this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So, as you could tell, this was a solid victory for Lord Tremendous. I ended up getting 2,654 out of him. He got 970 out of me for a difference of 1,684 points. I ended up losing Lord Tremendous, the Trappers, Bow Wowser, my Mercs, and my Cannon. So, all in all, not terrible. So first things first, I have to apologize. Skaz actually survived. I don't know what I was thinking. I did try to get him killed with the Frost Mammoth. I'm sorry. I'll get him killed next time. But seriously, Lord Tremendous on Iraq was awesome. He took out his Khan BSB, a full unit of tribesmen, and then traffic jammed my opponent's army for pretty much the majority of the important part of the game. He was never really able to get on the offensive foot, in my opinion, because of that. And he did that single-handedly. Granted, he's almost 400 points with the kit that I have on him, but super effective. I was very pleased at how well he did, and I can't wait to try him out again before I make a definitive yay or nay on whether or not he's staying in the army. I don't like that he's so many points and he's so poorly defended, because it just makes it a real easy way to get like 1/5 of my points, just under. With a lucky round of shooting, but definitely like him out. And I'm aware now, after this game, that the Heart Ripper, while it's cool and everything like that, isn't super useful, and the parry isn't effective, nor is the extra +1 to his armor save effective. Although I knew that in this game about the armor save portion. I'm gonna change out his kit, definitely. But Lord Tremendous isn't really the one that takes away the entire credit for this game. The Thunder Cannon of Doom! Taking out the Merc Vets on the charge, that was insane. That will never happen again in the history of my OgreCon career. But man, am I glad I was there for it to happen this one time. In all fairness, my opponent bombed a lot of his leadership checks, which helped me win this game. Had he been rolling leadership checks like he should have been, it would have been much, much closer. And having the Hunter on a Tusker and a Hunter on a Rock was a lot of fun. I like Hunters a lot, which is good, because Ogres, I always wanted to like the Hunter, and I never did. And 9th Age gives me the opportunity to like the characters I want to like. Thank you, 9th Age. But this was a very unexpected and fun game, very interesting game against Gnome Runner. I fully expected to run into Vermin Swarm, and then he's got a mirror match for me. He never ceases to entertain. He is an excellent opponent. If you ever get the opportunity to play against Gnome Runner, you should definitely take it. It's a lot of fun. And as always, I am definitely looking forward to the rematch. Real quick, guys and gals, I want to say a quick thank you to everybody that supports my channel financially. These are the individuals that allow me to thank them properly on my battle reports. There are others that want to donate anonymously, and I have to respect that. But these are the guys that let me say thank you. Alex of the Vale Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, and Daniel Jolson. Thank you guys very, very much. Thank you all my anonymous donators and stuff like that. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that I continue to be worthy of your donations. But that's it, guys. That's going to do it for this battle report. Number 40 is officially in the history books. Real quick, while I got your attention, if you're still paying attention after all this, I got a few questions about why I'm playing the Walking Dead theme music in my videos. It's October. I love the holidays. And so I'm going to play the scary Walking Dead theme music because I also love The Walking Dead, and that's why I like to theme my battle reports. What can I tell you? Also, I'm looking for any kind of like Thanksgiving music, although I don't really know what that would consist of, as well as holiday music. If you have any and or know where I can get it on the cheap or free would be better, please let me know in the comment section. I will get it and I will give you mega kudos so that in December I have holiday music and in November I have Thanksgiving music. Maybe just turkeys gobbling or something. That might be cool too, or really annoying. But anyway, guys, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.